Divyosu brothers. Okay.
Sir, you have given one question regarding that space liquid absorbing.
Okay.
So you raised a question saying that what that would be considered as infringement or not. One of the questions, sir.
Correct.
You have posted. So.
Yeah. So 46.1 is what Deepika has said. What is 46.1, Deepika?
It is 47.1, I think she said.
Yeah, 47.1. What is that? Can you read out to me?
Yes.
47.1, any machine, apparatus or other article in respect of which the patent is granted or article made by using a process in respect of which patent is granted may be imported or made by or on behalf of government for the purpose of merely of its own use. Since it is used by government, it is not an infringement is what you are saying. No, not this one.
Hello, sir.
Deepika, not 47.1. 47.1 will not come into picture.
No, sir. I said 46.1.
46.1. Okay.
Like
Every
it
patent
is
shall be prescribed
territorial.
to a form and shall have effect throughout India. Very good.
Yeah.
So it is throughout India. So will space come within the jurisdiction of India?
No, sir.
That's the reason it is not an infringement.
Yeah.
So what can be within the territory of India? What can be assumed as within the territory of India? Can a ship on the sea?
49, sir?
49.
Like Indian territorial waters to the limit, sir.
Yeah, patent rights not infringed when used on foreign vessels, etc., temporarily or accidentally in India. Even if it is territorial waters in India, but it is temporarily or accidentally, that is not infringement.
Yes.
Is what it is saying. If foreign aircrafts or foreign ships and all, that is not an infringement unless it is purposely came there. So you all know the nautical miles and all, right?
Yeah.
Whenever in the sea, to what extent the sea belongs to India?
Nautical.
There will be some nautical miles till where Indian jurisdiction lies. Thereafter, it is
Like
moved to everywhere.
12 or 24, I think.
Water. So that is the jurisdiction of India. If it is within that jurisdiction, if something happens, then it is infringement. Even in the air also, suppose throughout the India, in sense, if somebody space is too long, but if it is done in the air, maybe 50 meter high or 100 meter high in the air, can that be an infringement in India? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Why? I've not used the product on the land, but I've used within 50 meters from the land.
I think like nautical miles is there, so something.
Exactly. Like nautical miles in the water, the air also, there is some space which is considered to be Indian territory, and it is an infringement even if you use in the air. Right?
Sir, one more question that day you have given.
What
So
is
the
that?
answer is so the answer for this is 49 only, no, sir? Like it's not considered as an infringement.
Exactly.
For the space, yeah.
It is 46.1 is the correct answer. 49 gives you further explanation that if it is a foreign vessel and accidentally comes into the Indian territory. You got the point.
Yes, sir.
It's a foreign ship or foreign aircraft or foreign rocket that has come in India accidentally, temporarily, for only stopgap, only for half an hour, 1 hour, kind of a thing, then it is not an infringement. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Second question.
That if an organization outside India files for us.
If an organization
Hello?
outside India files a patent,
Yeah. Uh, uh, files for a say US or EU patent by
hmm,
including an Indian entity's name as the joint applicant without their knowledge is
hmm.
still going to be violation of Section 39. Here, although the Indian entity has contributed to the invention, it was informed only after filing by the foreign organization, which was done due to some pressure for emergency filing.
Hmm.
So,
So without the see for any penalty, because we are talking today penalties, chapter penalty we are discussing. For anything need to be penalized, for any penal action to be taken, you need to establish mens rea. There is a word called mens rea. Note down this: MENSCRA, mens rea.
MEN.
Mens rea is the guilty intention of the person to commit the crime. Unless there is a guilty intention to commit the crime, they are not said to be committed a crime. So section 118 talks about contravention of secrecy provisions. You are able to see the screen, right? All of you able to see
Yes,
the
sir.
screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So section 118 talks about contravention of secrecy provisions relating to certain invention, which is provided under section 39. If any person fails to comply with the directions given under section 35, section 35, when you file a patent application, the patent office checks the patent application and imposes secrecy directions under section 35. Or when you file a foreign filing permit under section 39, and if the invention relates to atomic energy or related to Indian defense, then secrecy directions will be issued under section 35. When secrecy directions are issued under section 35, if somebody contravenes the directions or makes a causes to be made an application for grant of patent in contravention of section 39, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with both. So it is or option: 2 years imprisonment, or fine, or with both. 2 years as well as fine. So it need to be established. It need to be established with when it is a penal action. Mens rea is quite important. If you don't have guilty intention to do that crime, then it is not an offense. For offense to be established, you need to also establish the guilty intention. If you are unable to establish guilty intention, that will not apply to you. Is that clear? So if without your knowledge, if somebody files a patent in your name in a foreign country, then you are not liable, because you don't have that guilty intention. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? Yeah. Let us go with section 119. Falsification of entries in the register, etc. If any person makes or causes to be made a false entry in a register kept under this act, or writing falsely purporting to be a copy of an entry in such register, or produces or tenders or caused to be produced or tender in evidence any such writing knowing the entry or writing to be false, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for term which may extend to 2 years, or with fine, or with both. So in case, suppose you don't have a patent application, but you said patent has been filed, or in case a patent is not granted to you, but you show a certificate saying that a patent is granted to you, then it is falsification of entries. Not only causing the falsification of entry in the register, but also falsification of evidence, falsification of documents of the register are considered to be a falsification of entries in the register. So if you file a suit based on a false document which is not granted by the patent office, but you create a document and file a patent infringement suit, then it is considered to be falsification of entries. Or if you mark on your products, generally on your products you'll write patent pending, patented, and the application number. If you falsely mark the products, then also it is considered to be falsification of entries of the register. So all those offenses, the term of punishment is 2 years with fine or with both. 120, unauthorized claim of patent rights. 119 and 120 are connected. 120, if any person falsely represented that any article sold by him, patented in India, or is subject of patent application for a patent in India, he shall be punishable with fine which may extend to 1 lakh rupees. So if you say that, see, patent applied for, patent pending, so these kind of words engraved on the product, that an article patented in India, if there is a stamp engraved or impression or otherwise applied to the article, the word patent or patented or some other words expressing, implying that the patent for the article has been obtained in India. Even if it is obtained outside, if you have granted a US patent, can you write patented? You can't. Only in USA you can write patented, but in India you have to write patent pending. If it is applied, patent applied and pending, then you need to write patent pending. So use of patent, patented or patent applied for a patent pending without actually there is no application or no patent granted, then it is an offense which may attract a fine of 1 lakh rupees. So if you are using that, you should be prepared to pay 1 lakh rupee fine. Then 121, wrongful use of words patent office. If any person uses his place of business or any document issued by him or otherwise the words patent office or any other words which would reasonably lead to belief that his place of business is or is officially connected with the patent office, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for term which may extend to 6 months or with fine or with both. In case you becoming a patent agent, can you say that my office is connected to patent office? No, you can't. Even though you have registered as a patent agent, you can't claim your office as a patent office. Patent office is different and patent agent's office is different. You can claim your office as patent agent's office, not patent office per se. Whenever you produce any document saying that this is a receipt issued by the patent office, that will not be allowed unless the patent office issues that receipt. Right, any receipt or any office place you show that it has a patent office, then it is wrongful use of patent office word and attracts punishment under section 121, which is extended to 6 months imprisonment and then fine, or with both fine and 6 months imprisonment. 122, refusal or failure to supply information. This is very important. Under I think section 8, we require to provide information of foreign patents and all, right? Refusal to or failure to supply information. If any person refuses or fails to furnish to central government any information which is required to be furnished under subsection 5 of section 100, to the controller any information or statement which is required to be furnished under section 146, he shall be punishable with fine which may extend to 10 lakh rupees. Let us see section 105 and section 146. First we'll see section 100. Section 100 clause 5. Where an invention has been used by or with the authority of the central government for the purpose of government under this section, then except the cases of national emergency, other circumstances of extreme emergency or non-commercial use, the government shall notify the patentee as soon as practicable the fact and furnish him with such information to the extent of the use of the invention as he may from time to time reasonably require, and where the invention has been used for the purpose of government undertaking, the government may call such information as may be necessary for this purpose for such undertaking. So if the use of invention has been made by the government and that use information, if it is called for, that need to be given by the patentee, is what section 105 says. Now let us see 146. Power of controller to call information. Power of controller for calling information from patentee. The controller may at any time during the continuance of the patent by notice in writing require the patentee or licensee exclusive otherwise to furnish him within 2 months from the date of notice such further time as a controller by VLO such information, such periodic statement as to the extent which the patent invention has commercially worked in India. Section 146 talks about working of patents. When it is working of patents, commercial working is required to be known. If that information is refused to be supplied under Form 27, every 31st March, you are required to submit commercial working of information. Working of patents is how many products you made, how much revenue you generated, how many licenses you granted. That information required to be given to the patent office. Either it is for the government use or for commercial use, whatever you have made, that information required to be supplied. If you fail to supply that information, then if any person being required to furnish any such information is referred to under subsection 1, furnishes information or statement which is false and which is either knows or has reason to believe to be false or does not believe to be true, he shall be punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 6 months or with fine or with both. Either don't supply or you supply false information, then it is imprisonment up to 6 months with fine or with both. So you need to be very careful while submitting Form 27 or any other information which controller asks. You should be truthful to that information. If you give false information, then it falls under section 122. 123, practice by non-registered patent agent. If any person contravenes the provisions of section 129, he shall be punishable with fine which may extend to 1 lakh rupee in case of the first offense and 5 lakh rupees in case of the second and subsequent offense. If you are not a patent agent and you say yourself as a patent agent and do patent practice, then you are liable to be punished under section 123. Section 123 is the extent of punishment is 1 lakh rupee for the first time and 5 lakh rupees for the second and subsequent offense. So if somebody if you are not a patent agent and you do patent operations, then somebody can make a complaint against you, and after inquiry, if it is proved, then you will be liable for punishment. 124, offenses by companies. If a person committing an offense under this act is a company, the company as well as every person in charge and responsible to the company for the conduct of his business at the time of commissioning of the offense shall be deemed to be guilty of the offense and shall be liable to be proceeded against and punished accordingly. So if it is company, not only the company but also directors of the company or any person who is responsible for the activities of the company, they are liable and they will be punished. Provided that nothing contained in the subsection shall render any such person liable to any punishment if he proves that the offense was committed without his knowledge or that he exercised all due diligence to prevent the commission of offense. If somebody, if a company does it and if a director doesn't know about that offense, and as soon as he knows the offense, gets the knowledge about that offense, he has stopped it, then he will not be punished. Only those people who commits the offense, they will be punished. Nothing withstanding, and it's like if a company prints, if suppose Samsung prints patented on their mobile phone without obtaining a patent, who should be punished? Is it the person who sells it or the person who manufactures or the Samsung company itself? Samsung company itself will be punished. Along with the Samsung company, the directors of the company or all people who are responsible for the activities of the company will be punished. So that is provided under section 124.1. 124.1 provision says that if in case they don't they don't have the knowledge about the offense, they don't know that it has been printed wrongly by the printer, doesn't have the knowledge, then it is exempted. However, the moment they get to the knowledge, they have removed it, then it is exempted as per proviso of the section 124.1. Section 124.2, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, where an offense under this act has been committed by a company and it is proved that the offense has been committed with the consent or convenience of, or that the commission of the offense is attributable to any neglect on the part of director, manager, secretary or other officer of the company, such director, manager, secretary, other officer shall also be deemed to be guilty of that offense and shall be liable to be proceeded against and punished accordingly. So if it is, not every employee can be held liable. If that such act of printing patented is done by a manager, then the manager will be liable. If that act has been done with the consent of the director, then director will be liable. Like that, who is responsible for doing that act, that person will be held liable. Section 124(2)(a) talks about company means any body corporate and includes a firm or other association of individuals, and so it includes partnership firm or society. All those things also comes under company. It's not just the company incorporated under Indian Companies Act, but also a partnership firm or society registered under Societies Act, or any other association of individuals which forms as a legal entity, that will come under the definition of the company. And director in relation to a firm means a partner in the firm. Any partner in the firm will be considered as director. Director doesn't necessarily include a director of a company. 125. From 125, it is chapter 21, talks on patent agents. Shall we continue this, or do you have any questions? Deepika, Suryakala, Sharath, are you listening me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The penalties, only
Yes, sir.
those penalties. You already heard it, right? From 118 to 124.
Yes, sir.
Section 118 to 124. Unlike trademark and copyright, there are no penalties for infringement of a patent. Have you noticed? If a person commits a infringement of a patent, if a person commits infringement of a trademark or a copyright, he'll be put behind bars. If I copy the technology and make this mobile phone, I'll be liable only for civil remedies. There is no criminal charge. There is no imprisonment or penal action. Penalty will be levied against me. Is that clear? Under Indian patent law, there is no penalty for infringer. Infringer, there is no penal action. It is only if you contravene secrecy direction, if you produce false entries, or if you unauthorizedly claim patent rights, or if you wrongfully use patent office, or if you refuse to supply information under Form 27, or if you practice as a patent agent without actually a patent agent, then there is penalty. Then there is imprisonment or fine will be levied against you. And again, if it is done by companies under 124, companies, all those employees who are responsible for running the company are liable. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let us now go with
Sure.
the important aspect. Every year, one question is mandatorily coming on this aspect. Register of patent agents and qualifications and all. Let us first read section 125. Yeah.
Sir, in the case of offenses by companies where every employee is responsible for the thing, then how they pay the penalties? Like every member will pay the penalties, or it's like a company?
Every member, the penalty will be levied. Like it's like if a murder is committed by 4 or 5 people, will only one person will be punished, or all 5 people will be punished?
No, all 5, sir.
You got the answer, right? So
Yes, sir.
whoever first stabbed, only that person will be punished. Last stabbing person will not be punished. It is not like that. The death happened because all 5 people stabbed him. So the offense has been committed by all the officers of the company. So all the officers of the company are responsible separately, undividedly. Each and every person of that company will be penalty will be levied against each and every person. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
1 second. Sorry, 1 second. Now let us go with register of patents. The controller shall maintain a register to be called register of patents, in which shall be entered the names, addresses, and other relevant particulars as may be prescribed of all persons qualified to have their names so entered under section 126. So there should be a register of patent agents. I think you all might have seen there is an electronic register of patent agents that has been kept. So electronic register of patent agents will have all the names, addresses, and other relevant particulars of all the registered patent agents. Who are registered patent agents? That has been provided under section 126, which will go and see, which will read after this section. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, it shall be lawful for controller to keep the register of patent agent in computer floppies, diskette, or any other electronic form subject to such safeguards as may be prescribed. So electronic register will also be available under 125(2), and now we have electronic register only. Then 126, qualifications for registration as a patent agent. A person shall be qualified to have his name entered in the register of patent agent if he fulfills the following conditions, namely, number 1, it is only for Indian citizens. Foreigners can't claim to be patent agents in India. So any person want to register as patent agent in India, he should be citizen of India. Similarly, in foreign countries also, when foreign law, when you want to enter when you want to become a patent agent of USA, or when you want to become a patent agent of Malaysia or any other foreign country, they'll also not allow you. So some countries like USA and Canada has some reciprocal arrangement. If you register as patent agent in Canada, you can practice in USA. If a person registers as patent agent in USA, they can also practice in Canada. Like that, there are some reciprocal arrangements will be there, but otherwise, generally, only the citizens of that country are allowed to be registered as patent agents before that country patent office. So India, it is only citizen of India can be registered as patent agent, and he should have completed the age of 21 years. If you are not age of 21 years, you are not allowed to be registered as a patent agent. For getting a graduation, what is the age, ma? By what age you will get a graduation in India?
21.
21 years.
That is precisely why the 21 years has been kept. Has obtained a degree in science, engineering, or technology. Degree in science, engineering, or technology from any university established under law for time being in force in the territory of India, or possesses such equivalent qualification as central government may specify in this behalf. And in addition, so A, B, C are mandatory. ABC is, A is citizen of India, B is completed 21 years of age, C is degree in science, engineering, or technology. Degree in science, it can be BSc in any Bachelor of Science, BTech, Bachelor of Technology, BE, Bachelor of Engineering, these kind of courses, these kind of things, but not diplomas. It is only degree in science, engineering, or technology. And then in addition to ABC, in addition to C, one has been omitted. 2, has passed the qualifying examination prescribed for the purpose for which you are preparing now. You are preparing for patent agent exam, right? So that patent agent exam, in addition to citizen of India completing 21 years of age and having science, engineering, and technology degree, you should also pass patent agent exam, and has for a total period of not less than 10 years functioned either as an examiner or discharged the function, or see, it is or has passed the qualifying examination for the purpose, or it is not and or means this or that. Even if you don't pass the patent agent exam, but if you have for a period not less than 10 years functioned either as an examiner or discharged the function of controller under section 73 or both, but cease to hold any such capacity at the time of making the application for registration, then you will be registered as a patent agent. Citizen of India, 21 years, mandatory, and degree in science and engineering and technology. These 3 are mandatory. And additionally, there are 2 requirements. Either qualify the patent agent exam or work with the patent office for 10 years and has been left the office at the time of making the application for registration of patent agent, and has paid such fee as may be prescribed. And not only this, you require to pay the fee to register yourself as a patent agent. And clause 2 says, 126 clause 2 says, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, a person who has been registered as a patent agent before the commencement of the Patent Amendment Act 2005 shall be entitled to continue to be, or when required to be re-registered as a patent agent on a payment of fee as may be prescribed. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, a person who has been registered as a patent agent before the commencement of the Patent Amendment Act 2005 shall entitled to be continued to be, or when required to be registered as a patent agent on the payment of the fee as may be prescribed, he can register. So earlier to 2005, this requirement of science, engineering and technology degrees are not there. This has been incorporated. 126(1) clause C has been incorporated by Patent Amendment Act 2005. Earlier to 2005, even lawyers were registered as patent agents. So those people who have registered as patent agent prior to 2005, however, suppose somebody has been a lawyer from 1980, but he has not registered as a patent agent till 2005. He can't register as a patent agent. But a person who is a lawyer, who is in 1990s, he has become a lawyer and he has registered as a patent agent, he can continue to be patent agent even after now. Even after 2005 amendment, now lawyers are not allowed. But earlier lawyers are allowed. Lawyers, other people have allowed to be registered as patent agents. Those people who have registered as patent agents earlier can be continued is what section 126(2) says. So some person who is registered as a patent agent, somebody who has passed LLB in 2005 and he has registered as patent agent on that year, and 2005 amendment has come into force. So he should not be disentitled. He shall be still continue to be patent agent. Section 127, rights of patent agents. Subject to the provisions contained in this act and any rules made thereunder, every patent agent whose name is entered in the register shall be entitled to practice before controller and prepare all documents, transact all business and discharge such functions as may be prescribed in connection with any proceedings before the controller under this act. So he can practice before controller and he can prepare and submit all documents and discharge all duties prescribed under this Patent Act. So these are the rights of the patent agent. Subscription and verification of certain documents by patent agents. All applications and communications to controller under this act may be signed by the patent agent, authorized in writing in this behalf by the person concerned. So you can sign on behalf of applicant. Applicant required to make some declaration. You can sign on his behalf that declaration, provided that person should have been authorized you to do that. So authorization under Patent Act, what is the form that is required to file? What is the form in which a patent agent will be authorized? Deepika, Suryakala, Sharath. What is the form?
Form 22.
Form 26, ma. Is there any fee for authorization, submission of authorization? Form 26 has any fee? No, there is no fee for filing Form 26. Any point of time, you can file Form 26 and sign any document on behalf of the applicant or patentee or any person who wants to communicate with the patent office. However, when you want to change the address for service, if there is earlier one attorney, one agent is there, and you are coming as another agent, new agent, then the earlier person address is recorded in the patent office for that application. If you want the change of address for service, then what is the form that you require to file? Is it Form 26 sufficient? No. You require another form. What is that? Form 13. Form 13, change of address for service. You need to file along with Form 26 if you want to change the communication address for that application or for that proceedings. So once you file that Form 26, that is not enough. You require to file Form 13, and Form 13 you have a fee. Form 13, there is
Yes,
a
sir.
prescribed. Uh,
350, sir.
paid. Yeah. Sharath, tell me.
350 rupees, sir. Fine.
No, it is not.
Sir. Form fee.
Maybe individual, small entity and large entity. You need to look in. Everybody has separate filing fee. Provided that if such person is absent from India, they may be signed and verified on his behalf by the patent agent authorized by him in writing in that behalf. So if he is not present in India, then that has, when he signs it, that need to be verified, signed and verified on his behalf by patent agent authorized by him in writing.
Sir, but Form 13 is for the amendment of the application for patent and
Yes,
or
Form
complete.
13 can be used for both. Form 13 can be used for amendment. Form 13 can be used also for filing address for change or name, alteration of name. All those things it can be used. It can be used for both. So both there is a different fee. For amendment there is a different fee. For change of address there is a different fee. You can just go through. Then last provision under this chapter, section 121, restriction on practice as a patent agent. No person either alone or in partnership with other person shall practice, describe or hold himself out as a patent agent or permit himself to be described to be held out of unless he is registered patent agent, or the case may be unless he or all his partners are so registered. And as well as firms, law firms, no company or other body corporate shall practice, describe itself or hold out as a patent agent or permit itself to be described or held out. If unless they have a patent agent in their office, they can't call their firm as patent agent firm. Apply for obtain patents in India or elsewhere, prepare specifications or other documents for the purpose of this act or patent law or any other country, give advice other than scientific technical nature as to the validity of the patents of their infringement. So all this can be done only by the patent agent, not by any other persons. If there are other persons we are doing it, then they are liable for punishment provided in penalties. Then removal from register of patent agents and restoration. The controller may remove the name of any person from the register when he is satisfied after giving that person reasonable opportunity of being heard, and after such further inquiry, if any, as he thinks fit, to make that his name should be removed, that he has convicted for any offense and sentenced a term of imprisonment. See, if the agent becomes a criminal, then